All right, let's welcome into Straight Fire. You know him. Come on, man. He's a big Vegas guy. He's a TV guy. He's all over the radio. Bill Krackomberger, Fox Sports Radio. Bill, how are you, my man?
Hey, thanks for having me on. Good to see you again.
Yeah, it's good to have you back. Crack Wins is the website. This guy's got a lot of action. Listen, week 13 was okay to me. College had been amazing, but week 14, I'm a little nervous because I like the sides a lot. We got a great Thursday night game we'll get to, Bill. I do want to quickly start. I don't know if you're a huge college football guy, but it is championship weekend. UNLV is in action. They're in your backyard. Any thoughts heading into the college football championship weekend?
Yeah, sure. And as these games go on to these type of championship games, and as they get closer to the big tournament, these games get so much harder to handicap. They're like an NFL game. They really are. Their NFL sides are very hard to beat. I do dabble in it a little bit. Living in Las Vegas, we get extra half a points here, though. So I'm really fortunate to get extra half a points on games, whereas a lot of America, you really only have a choice or two, and they don't have maybe those local casinos here. We have local casinos here that have a square fan base in volume. People bet in the 50s, hundreds, $100. It adds up. They have to overmove the lines and get some two-way action. Our local casinos are really juicy for me. Now, this game we actually took a lead. Let me get the current line right now. This game I actually took a little bit, which I thought was a little bit of a lead here. I took UNLV plus 4.5.
Yeah.
Let's get the current. There's, believe it or not, see, living here in Vegas, there's still 4.5. Four is everywhere. 4.5, and so really got ahead of it just a hair. It's a medium bet for me. I did bet, like I said, these games are tough when they get into these championship type of games. They get a little bit tougher. But you actually picked one of the few games that I did bet on this weekend. I bet UNLV plus 4.5, and that game's on Friday, actually. Yep.
Yeah, it's weird, Bill. The college football playoff, I don't want to say has diminished championship weekend, but like Georgia, Texas isn't for a spot in the playoff. They're both making it. So,
Yes.
The SEC championship would be great. Texas wins, awesome. But isn't the goal of the college football playoff? And if that's the case, Bill, are you emptying the playbook here to win at all costs? I mean, you're going to have a game coming up soon.
As usual, the reason why I like doing your show and actually watching you is, there's so many people out there in this business, and I hope I don't insult anyone. I'm not mentioning no one's names, that talk sports betting that don't know about it. So you're spot on. Again, Texas, Georgia, perfect example. I talked to my right-hand man, my assistant, on Monday about this. I said, are these teams really not giving it their all? They're already in. And there's a couple games you can mention that with. I even talked about the Oregon side. I talked about a couple things.
Yeah, Oregon's in.
Yeah, like I don't know what's in their mindset. You have to find. That's why my life is I have a guy that I have on the payroll that I give him a piece of every bet. He does nothing but scour the socials, and he's actually real big on he's real big on the beat reporters for certain teams. More college basketball right now than this time of the year for football, but he does during the year. He does follow college football beat reporters and the hometown schools. But you have a great example of what you're talking about. There is the Texas Georgia game, and I did bet Texas. I wanted to see what I laid on the money line. I laid Texas at minus $1.20 on the money line. I found a really good money line when it came out. So I did bet Texas in that situation. I do have a slight edge. The line's pretty solid, 2.5 here in town. I still like Texas in that game at the current money line, but it's nothing crazy. I'll bet more on a player prop, maybe in the same game that I'll bet on a side there. But I do like Texas money line in that game.
It's I brought that up because it's like, if you're a Georgia student or a fan recently grad, like normally, hey, we're going to the SEC championship game, we're making a weekend out of it. But now it's like, okay, we could have 2 or 3 college football playoff games. I want to be at those. I want to go to the Natty.
Of
and
course.
At that point, I mean, yeah, sure. Obviously, there's some big donors who can go to all the games, but I'm just curious. Georgia should have a home field advantage at the Georgia Dome. But Texas is out for revenge, obviously losing the last meeting. I don't know. It's an interesting game. I will say that Clemson SMU is big. It feels kind of like SMU might still make it in even if they lose, but this is certainly an elimination game, like a true one.
It's funny. I know a bunch of people. I'm friends with a lot of guys from the South. Being a knock-around guy from back home in New York and New Jersey, you wouldn't think. Some of my best friends are from the South. I love these guys. They are diehard Clemson fans. They're all going to Charlotte for that game.
Oh, yeah.
And, they can't wait to go. They could have found the 3 maybe for a hair there. Now it's down to 200, solid 2.5 in that game. Let's see. Do I have anything on that game? I don't know. I don't.
That's
Small play, believe it or not, against the money because the money actually came in. No, actually it did. SMU. Small play on SMU. The money came in on SMU. I'm wrong.
Yeah. I would mostly agree. I'm rooting SMU. My buddy graduated from there. All right, let's get to NFL. Thursday Night Football. Amazing game. Lions hosting the Packers. Everybody knows the storyline now. Lions went into Green Bay in the rainstorm, whooped them. However, the Lions are walking wounded since then. I saw 3 defensive linemen not practicing this week. Doesn't look like they're going to go. Their front 7 is so beat up on the defensive end that Jamal Adams was signed. I mean, like, that guy couldn't guard me in coverage. Now maybe he's going to be called upon to play linebacker. It's just very wacky for Detroit. So I did take Green Bay here, getting the points. I just don't know if the Packers are great, Bill.
Yeah, Detroit up front, the linemen definitely are injured. Like you said, there's a couple guys they're getting back on defense that should be okay, but they're not the linemen. So
Davis in the secondary.
Right, secondary guys. Exactly correct. I'm in this survivor pool here in Las Vegas, which is $14 million.
The circle one.
The circle one.
You're still alive?
No, I bought a team. So I bought 20% of a team last week for $40,000. So I know.
Wow.
I thought it was worth it. The entries were worth like $260,000 each. These guys came to me, by the way, 4 different teams came to me, but the team I bought had the clearest path, and they were looking to sell between 10 and 25%. We settled on 20% for $40,000. I have a partner. We went $20,000 each, so $40,000 for 20%. We had Detroit over Chicago.
Oh boy!
I can't. That's the reason why I really wanted the team. Only 17 people out of the 54 at Detroit. I probably should have at least went to overtime and lost there. So that's its own week. Now we go to last week because we only had 4 games to choose from: the 3 Thanksgiving and the Kansas City game. By the way, 29 people had Kansas City. We would have knocked out half the pool, more than half the pool, if the Raiders just didn't fudge that at the end.
Inept Raiders.
My ticket would have went from $260,000 to $650,000 worth, the ticket as a whole. But so we go to Sunday, and it's brand new week, and I picked my guys that I bought a piece of, picked Tampa Bay. Talk about another luck box game.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my God. They should have lost that game. I should be out of it. So 52 of us, only 2 people got eliminated that took Cincinnati.
Hey, wait, let me ask you real quick, Bill. So by buying 20%, so I'm a minority owner in a soccer team, and I have a much less than 20%, but I don't totally have a say in personnel moves. I can suggest stuff, but come on, I'm a minority owner. At 20%, can you suggest? How much say do you have in who they pick this week?
Listen, they asked me right away, and I said, "Listen, guys, this is 6 guys. They're all this Colorado alumni. They're good guys. They were friends. They bought some. We all were on a Skype call, not a Skype, Zoom call together. And I said, listen, guys, don't ask me. I already lost 25,000 in this thing, which I did. I lost 25. I said, don't go. Every sharp guy that I know is out of this thing. Don't go. Do whatever you've been doing the whole time. And sure enough, they said, well, we're going to go with Minnesota or Carolina. Both games, Minnesota or Tampa Bay. Both teams just barely got by.
Barely got it done, yeah.
Yeah, so this week, again, they asked me, and I told them the same thing. Guys, do whatever you want to do. Don't ask me.
Yeah, let me guess. They're going Eagles if they still have Philly left?
No, I'm going to read what they actually said. No, one team was. I thought they were going to go with someone. They're going to go with either Minnesota or Pittsburgh. Minnesota
against Kirk Cousins or Pittsburgh against the Browns. Interesting divisional matchup, and then you're buying real low on. Your Falcons are at their lowest point. Minnesota should kill them, but
they should. But you never know.
You never know. It's the NFL. So what do you have on Packers Lions? Any lean there or no?
Yeah, it's funny. Right before we came on air, another syndicate group hit. And when I say syndicate, I mean sports betting syndicate. Easy. Yep. The mafia historians see that and say syndicate. Green Bay. They bet Green Bay plus 3.5. There's only 1 3.5 minus $1.10 still available out here in Vegas. Again, having all these sports books where most of them are plus 3.5, dog 15 or 20. I already had Green Bay, so I already had Green Bay plus the 3.5. Unfortunately, I went to go bet 4 when the line opened up. Did not, because I wanted to check on some status of some of the Detroit defenders, and didn't grab the 4. So I have the 3.5. I'm with you. We're on the same side. We'll see what happens here. I just don't think that. I think Green Bay is good. I don't think they're a top 5 team. Like people say, oh, they might go to the Super Bowl. I don't know if they'll go to the Super Bowl. Granted, I like Love. I think he's great. He makes $1 million bucks a week. How can you not like anyone who makes $1 million a week? I do like them. I root for them. I actually made a season. I was in Florida, and the Hard Rock in Florida had season wins up early. I bet under Green Bay, 10.5 wins when I was in Florida. I was wrong. This team's going to win more than 10 games. So I was definitely wrong there. What happens sometimes. I had some great futures on other ones in Florida, but that one I'm probably going to lose, and I'm rooting for Green Bay this weekend.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think Packers are the side. But it's weird. I look at Sunday, and the first bet I made, and you can laugh and scoff, and I'm sure people will. It was Eagles over Carolina, and I know you're buying Eagles at the top of the market, and Carolina's actually looking good. But this matchup just so heavily favors Philly. Bryce Young, I think a little bit of a rude awakening. This Eagles defense, man, Vic Fangio, holy cow, they've turned it around.
Yeah, it's funny because I'm friends with a couple guys out here that are very sharp. One is Las Vegas Chris, and one is Steve Fezzik, both friends of mine, both very sharp, both on Philadelphia minus the double digits. Wow. Huh. It takes a lot for a pro, and I don't really know a lot of pros, to be honest with you, that bet NFL, but it takes a lot for a pro to lay double digits. That's how their power ratings, their power rankings have these two teams. You just got to hope. Philadelphia just came off a big win, their biggest win of the year, beating Baltimore. You got to hope that they don't kind of lay back a little bit here against a Carolina team. And like you said, Carolina's been playing much better. They've been in games and stuff. So I personally can never lay double digits in the NFL, even though these guys do. They're professionals. You like it. All three of you guys. I'm rooting for you guys. 12.5. There's even a 12 out here now, I see. So there's some 12.5 and 12s. The market, if this went down to maybe 10 or something, you could think about doing something with it. We have these bets, certain sports books. If the line's 12.5, they have 10-point teasers where you can bring them down through these key numbers of 10, 7, and 3, minus 2.5. I'd be more willing to go at that type of game, the minus the 2.5, if I can find two other teams that I'd be willing to put in a 10-point teaser.
Well, it's interesting you brought that up. I just went and looked at the schedule. So after Carolina, Philly hosts Pittsburgh in a big interstate game. I know it's not a division rival or anything, but that's a big one. If you remember a couple years ago, it was a big game, and I think Philly put a hurting on them. But Philly also has hosted two bottom feeders. Cleveland, they didn't cover, and Jacksonville, they did not cover. Big mistakes on special teams against Cleveland, let them back in the game. I think it was a blocked field goal when they were rolling. And then Jacksonville, same deal. They're rolling and then they screw it up. So there's a world where they just say, hey, we're not going to show anything, not putting anything on film. We're just going to run the ball, 50 times. Tough to get margin when you're just running so much. Carolina, though, they made Bucky Irving look like Eric Dickerson. I don't know if you saw that.
I know. Yes, of course. That game, meant, a lot of money to me in this pool. So I actually did follow that game. You usually don't sweat games too much. That overtime this weekend, and plus, by the way, when they get the ball back with 5 minutes left, if it's a tie, you get knocked out of the pool also. So it was a sick pool that I'm in, this Circa Survivor, down to 52 guys. But you are right. Carolina has been looking much better. And Bucky Irving, who's he? You almost want to say.
Guys,
yeah. He is amazing, and you're right about those two Philly games too. I forgot how handily they had. Boy, they had those teams they were covering Philadelphia in both of those games.
The Jacksonville killed me. I think I got a 4-1 in the contest that week, and that was my lone miss. And they were rolling in that game. I'm talking. I think it was 20-3. It was frustrating.
Crazy.
Let me get to another one. How do you?
Sure.
What do you make this of the Seattle is now 3, 2.5, or 3? They're getting points at Arizona. Seattle just handled them pretty well a couple weeks ago, but now it's in Arizona. Your thoughts?
I normally wouldn't do this, but I'm going to do this here. I'm going to pull up something, and I am against one. Here's one of my accounts in town, if you guys can see it. So that is probably my biggest bet there, as you could see. 5,000 Seahawks plus 3, 5,000 Seahawks plus 3. That's a big bet for me in the NFL. I don't bet that much in the
Yeah,
NFL
that's
normally.
significant.
Yeah.
That's a big
So,
one.
and I'm not doing it to brag. I'm doing it to tell you something. I'm doing it. How can you brag? I mean, overall, every other bet in the account's $2,000, $1,000, $3,000. I like Seattle plus 3 now. You understand? Plus 3 minus 110. They've been rolling along. I've been giving Seattle out on shows the last 3 weeks. Like they asked for one solid pick, and I've been pretty lucky. Jets were winning 14-0 last week. Seattle came back and won that one. Again, I'm on Seattle, and one of my friends I mentioned before, he's on Arizona, but he's on Arizona money line. So if they win by 1 or 2, we both win. So he's on Arizona money line, a good money line, minus $1.30. That's not available. I am on plus 3 minus $1.10, which is not available. Minus $1.20. I'm looking minus $1.18. So there is some plays, but I just think that Seattle is literally been playing for their playoff life. Granted, Arizona's been in a lot of games. I remember the first week of the season versus Buffalo. I mean, they've been in a lot of games.
They're feisty.
They're feisty. They're a feisty team.
But as a dog, it seems like this season, they're better in the underdog role, right? Would you agree?
Yeah, you're right. You're absolutely right. They were covering those games as a dog. Now they're favored at home. The market has caught up with them a little bit. And conversely, the other side, Seattle was doing terrible at covering early in the season and playing early in the season. So I think it's maybe not that it's two teams going in two different directions, but I just think Seattle's playing for their playoff life here. I think the 3 was a great number. I got in on the 3, and I think that they have a shot to win the game outright.
Now, because there's 6 teams on a bye this week, which is insane in the first week of December, the games are not amazing. But like on paper at the beginning of the season, Buffalo Rams and Bears Niners, those are supposed to be great games.
That's right.
And now I'm seeing Stafford kind of dinged up. I guess he's going to be okay, but not great against Buffalo, which seems to be peaking. Anything there for you?
The game opened up at 4, and it's still like 4.5. So not a lot of movement either way here. Same thing on the total. Opened up 49. It's kind of 49.5. Hasn't really moved crazy. But I will tell you, that was a big game for them the other day. They did 35-10, I think, was the final on, and that beautiful snow coming down. I always wanted to go to one of those type of ice bowl games in the snow or something. So Buffalo coming off a big victory the other night. And, of course, listen, we know San Fran is all banged up, so I'm not going to give them such great credit for that game as others might, winning by that score. Now they're going into a Rams team that's really playing for their life also. If anything, I lean Rams here plus the 4.5, but I didn't bet it. So if you guys are betting Buffalo, there's still a 4 here in town. I'm looking on the screen. I'm really not no real side in that game for me. I just hate teams that are coming off. Now they're flying from Buffalo out to LA, and they just had that big game. I always try to think what's in the mindset, because the human condition means so much in life in different spots, what we're made up of, and we're all fountains of energy and internal things. And so I kind of think of what their mindset is. They know they're rolling into the playoffs. They're one of the best teams in football. Power rankings are amazing this year. There's so much. There really is. The league has so many teams that at the beginning of the year you didn't know. Now the cream's kind of coming to the top, but you just don't know. Is Buffalo the best team? Is Kansas City the best team? I thought Detroit was the best team until I seen them falling apart the other day. So there's literally 4 teams maybe you could consider the best teams in football. Buffalo's mentioned above around with them, but I remember there's been a couple of games that, like I said, Buffalo struggled this year too. So, but they going into beating Kansas City was a big game for me. I just, it's fun, but it's the NFL. Any given Sunday, anything can and will happen. Don't be surprised if the Rams don't win outright, or don't be surprised if Buffalo doesn't blow them away.
All right, we could wrap up with Cleveland at Pittsburgh. The Steelers just continue to befuddle me every week. I don't get it. I keep betting against them. They keep killing me. Russell Wilson's a different guy. Now this is a big revenge spot for the Steelers. They're laying a big number in a divisional matchup. Browns short week after the Denver thriller, if you will, and then now they got to go to play a fired up Pittsburgh team. I don't know that I can back the Steelers here. Probably a stay away, but anything from you?
That's amazing. You come to this game. So again, I'm going to show you another bet. and I'm
Oh,
going
here
to
we
show
go.
you how I actually make bad bets sometimes. So before this week, I went on to every single show coast to coast. I think I did 13 shows last week, and I told people how bad Pittsburgh was. They were the worst best record team in football. That I
Yeah.
said they're Fugazi and everything. And look, and I even made a bad bet. I bet a $3,000 bet, laid 2-1 almost on the Baltimore to win the division, minus $1.95. I
Well,
could.
it's not over.
Well, it's not over, but I said, look, this is a great bet to make. It was minus 2-1 everywhere. I said it was a good bet for people to make. And here, Pittsburgh. But then again, Cincinnati's defense. Oh my God, what are they doing? Pittsburgh has the toughest schedule now. Let's see. Now let's see what they do. I'll tell you what. I bet Cleveland. They're on one of my smaller bets in that first account I showed you. I bet Cleveland here at South Point plus 7 points. I just think that this is a team that just beat them. Now, granted, it was crazy, all sorts of crazy weather in Cleveland. There was 13 points through 3 quarters, and they scored like 27 in the fourth quarter in a blizzard in Cleveland a few weeks ago on primetime football Thursday night. It was crazy. Cleveland won. So there's going to be a little bit of a revenge factor here, but Cleveland's been in the games. By the way, they probably should have won Monday night there. I don't know. You know, they were right in that game, and they've been in some games now playing a little better. Look at, I think the quarterback had like 480 yards. Did Jameis have something
yeah,
like
Jameis,
that?
497, 480,
497.
Like
oh, like in a losing effort. So, but again, he made a lot of key mistakes. I understand, but he is a powerhouse of all of a sudden with his throwing arm. So, give credit to a couple of those receivers too. So I am with you. I am on Cleveland in this game plus the 7 points. As a matter of fact, there's plus 7 minus 20 at 5 different shops. I still wouldn't be hesitant to bet that. I would take that right now. I think Pittsburgh, even though they may beat me on that bet, they may win the division. I know Baltimore, it's not over. You're right, but I'm with you here. I'm going to go with the points here with Cleveland.
Interesting. All right, Crack Man. Thanks for joining the pod this week. I know you got a lot going on, big bets, radio shows. It's good to be you, man. Keep continued success. Keep up the good work, and
it's
thanks
good
for
to be
taking the
you,
time.
man. You don't even know because I don't ever want to bother you and text you. I watch a lot of your stuff, man. I love. There's only a couple people in this business that know sports betting that are on air talking about it. You're one of them.
You're too kind, dude. You're too kind. All right, the Crack Man. Got to follow him on social media. He's everywhere. Have a great holiday, Bill.
You too. Thanks, guys.